Prepare to dive into a revelation of epic proportions. In Chapter 9 of the Book of Enoch, we witness a celestial turning point. The cries of the righteous reach the Creator's throne, and the judgment of the watchers draws near. This is not just another tale. It's a narrative imbued with divine justice and earth-shaking consequences. If you are captivated by stories of power, mystery, and retribution, now is the time to connect even further. Like this video, share it with those who need to hear these truths. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming chapters of this journey. Let's uncover the secrets the Book of Enoch holds together. Chapter 9 of the Book of Enoch marks a pivotal moment in the narrative, where the catastrophic situation on earth finally reaches the heavens. The cries of pain and injustice caused by the deeds of the Watchers and their offspring, the Nephilim, reach the ears of the angels faithful to the Creator. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, observing the corruption and chaos spreading across the earth, decide to take action and present these grievances before the divine throne. The angels, in their purity and faithfulness, deliver a detailed account of the destruction caused by the Watchers. They recount how these fallen angels revealed forbidden secrets to humanity, inciting violence, idolatry, and immorality. They describe how the giants, with their insatiable hunger, ravaged the planet's resources and committed heinous acts, including cannibalism and indiscriminate slaughter. In a profound display of divine compassion, the angels plead with the Creator to intervene and restore order to creation. They emphasize that humanity, though guilty of embracing the practices taught by the Watchers, was seduced by knowledge that should never have been revealed. They cry out for justice and purification, calling for the Watchers and their offspring to be judged and for the earth to be freed from its corruption. The chapter concludes with a powerful response from the Creator, who decides to act directly. He commands the imprisonment of the Watchers and announces the destruction of their offspring, the giants. This chapter serves as a turning point where divine justice begins to manifest decisively, setting the stage for the ultimate judgment and purification of creation. This chapter reflects the profound connection between the celestial and the terrestrial, demonstrating how the cries of the righteous never go unnoticed in the heavens. The heavens quaked under the weight of cries from earth, where chaos and despair reigned supreme. The righteous, driven to the brink by the violence of the Nephilim and the corruption of the Watchers, lifted their voices to the skies. Their pleas, raw and desperate, tore through the celestial veil, reaching the ears of the divine council. A reckoning was inevitable. Archangels Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel gathered, their radiant forms blazing with purpose. They observed the devastation, the Nephilim consuming all in their path, humanity ensnared in forbidden knowledge, and the earth itself groaning under the burden of sin. The celestial host, unwavering in their loyalty, resolved to intervene. They ascended to the throne of the Creator, where light unapproachable illuminated the realm. Before the Almighty, they detailed the horrors below. The Watchers, they proclaimed, have defiled humanity. Their sons, the Nephilim, devour the land, spilling innocent blood. The earth cries for justice. Humanity, though led astray, begs for mercy. The Creator listened, his judgment swift and unrelenting. His voice, like thunder, echoed through the cosmos. The Watchers shall face eternal chains, and the Nephilim shall perish. Orders were given. The archangels descended, their presence shaking the earth. Michael was tasked with binding the Watchers, dragging them to the depths of the abyss. Raphael prepared to cleanse the earth of the Nephilim's abominable presence. Gabriel rallied the forces of heaven, readying for the final purge. And Uriel illuminated the paths of the righteous, guiding them away from the oncoming storm. As celestial decrees unfolded, the earth held its breath. The sky darkened, signaling the divine retribution to come. Justice, long delayed, was now at hand. The Watchers trembled, and the Nephilim bellowed in defiance. But the hand of the Creator would not be stayed. Judgment had begun. The earth shuddered as divine forces prepared to unleash the judgment decreed by the Creator. The Watchers, once radiant beings of heaven, now stood condemned, their actions laid bare before the cosmic court. Their hearts, heavy with fear, could no longer deny the devastation they had wrought. The heavens prepared to intervene, and the earth would bear witness to its purification. Archangel Michael, bearing the authority of the Almighty, descended with chains forged by divine will. His mission, to bind the Watchers and seal their fate. As he approached their hidden sanctuaries, the Watchers cowered, their once mighty forms now shadows of their former glory. Their cries for mercy were silenced by Michael's unwavering resolve. Each chain he placed upon them was a testament to the justice of the Creator. Meanwhile, Raphael took to the desolation caused by the Nephilim. These offspring of forbidden unions had ravaged the land, consuming all in their path. Armed with celestial power, Raphael began the eradication of these monstrous beings. The earth quaked under the force of their destruction, the cries of the Nephilim reverberating as their reign of terror came to an end. Gabriel rallied the celestial armies, their combined radiance lighting the skies. Together, they swept across the lands, erasing the lingering traces of corruption. Their presence was a beacon of hope for the righteous, who emerged from the shadows, their prayers answered at last. Uriel guided them, his light piercing the darkness that had long plagued the earth. The Watchers were cast into the abyss, their cries echoing into eternal silence. The Nephilim were no more, their legacy of destruction wiped clean. The earth, though scarred, began to heal. The balance of creation, once teetering on the edge, was restored. Judgment was not only swift, it was absolute. A tumultuous silence descended upon the earth as the celestial decree took full effect. The judgment, fierce and unrelenting, swept through the land like a storm of fire and fury. The skies, once calm and untouched, were now ablaze with the light of divine wrath. The Watchers, their fate sealed, were imprisoned in the deepest corners of the abyss, bound in chains of eternal suffering. The heavens trembled as the weight of the Creator's justice reverberated across the realms. Angels, whose wings had once soared in harmony with the stars, now stood as the harbingers of destruction. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, their faces set with unyielding determination, had become the instruments of divine retribution. Their every movement was a resounding echo of the Creator's will. Justice would be done, no matter the cost. The earth, in its agony, cried out for release from the corruption that had consumed it. The once fertile lands, now barren and desolate, began to heal as the celestial forces cleansed them. The Nephilim, the monstrous offspring of the Watchers, had been eradicated, their reign of terror ending in a blaze of divine fire. Their bodies turned to dust, scattered to the winds as if they had never existed. But the battle was not yet won. The lingering effects of the Watchers' interference still lingered in the hearts of humankind. The knowledge they had imparted, dark, forbidden, and corrupt, had taken root deep within the souls of those who had been deceived. Though the Nephilim were gone, the seeds of rebellion were not so easily destroyed. The angels, led by Michael, now turned their attention to the children of the earth. The final phase of divine judgment had begun. The purification of humanity, the restoration of divine order, was about to unfold, but only those who had remained faithful would be spared the coming storm. It was a time of reckoning, where the choices of mankind would decide their fate. The judgment was far from over. The Creator's word had been spoken, and yet the world continued to writhe in the aftermath of the heavenly reckoning. The earth itself seemed to tremble as the very foundations of existence were being reshaped. The heavens, once full of celestial harmony, now roared with the thunderous power of divine wrath. The imprisoned Watchers, their fate sealed in the abyss, could only feel the weight of their transgressions, knowing their punishment would last for eternity. The celestial warriors stood as sentinels, watching the land below, their unwavering gaze piercing through the remnants of the world's once untouched beauty. Michael, the mightiest of them all, carried the full weight of divine justice. His wings spread wide, casting a shadow over the land below. Raphael and Gabriel, with solemn faces, surveyed the earth, their hearts heavy with the burden of the task ahead. The earth, now cleansed of the giants and the corruption they had left in their wake, began to show signs of life once more. The lands that had been scorched and barren began to show the first signs of healing. Yet, the scars of the past remained. The floodwaters that had once surged through the world now receded, leaving a trail of ruin and death behind them. Even in the aftermath, the land seemed to mourn, as if it remembered the days of sin and darkness, but there was still work to be done. The Watchers had taught humanity many things they should never have known. And now, the seeds of those forbidden lessons had taken root in the hearts of humankind. The humans who had once been innocent now carried within them the dark knowledge of the fallen angels. For some, this knowledge had corrupted them beyond redemption, while others, still loyal to the Creator, stood ready to fight for the restoration of divine order. The stage was set for the final conflict, where the fate of mankind would be sealed. Would the survivors stand in the light of divine judgment, or would they fall into darkness once more? The time of reckoning was upon them, and only the faithful would remain standing in the end. The divine fire would purify the earth, but its true test would come with the final choices of humankind. The battle for the soul of humanity had only just begun. The air was thick with the tension of the impending judgment. The celestial court had spoken, and the fate of the earth hung by a thread. The fallen angels, those who had once held power and dominion, now found themselves bound and chained in the deep abyss, their wings clipped and their once glorious forms reduced to mere shadows of what they had been. But even in their defeat, their legacy lived on. The giants, the monstrous offspring of the Watchers and humanity, had been destroyed, their twisted forms sinking into the earth like a poisoned root being severed. Yet the earth was not fully healed. The corruption they had sown had left an indelible mark on the land, and humanity was left to pick up the pieces. The wounds were deep, and the healing would take time. But there was hope. The faithful had endured, and the divine plan for redemption was still in motion. As the cries of the earth faded into the distance, the righteous few stood resolute. They had witnessed the destruction and the death of the giants, but they also saw the flickers of new life stirring in the wake of divine wrath. The air smelled of renewal, of a world reborn. The Creator had spoken, and though the judgment was severe, it had brought the promise of restoration. Yet the battle was not over. The seeds of darkness, planted by the Watchers, still lay dormant within the hearts of humanity. The knowledge they had imparted, forbidden and vile, could still corrupt those who sought power for themselves. The righteous knew they had a role to play in ensuring that this knowledge did not spread like wildfire. They would have to fight for the survival of purity and truth, for the remnants of mankind could still be swayed by the seductive pull of power. As the world began to heal, the final challenge loomed ahead. The humans who had been touched by the Watchers' teachings would now face a choice. Would they stand firm in their faith, rejecting the false wisdom of the fallen? Or would they succumb to the allure of forbidden power? The fate of the earth rested in their hands, and the future was uncertain. The final battle for the soul of humanity was yet to come. As the darkness began to recede, a heavy silence fell over the land. The Creator had intervened, the chains had been cast, and the once mighty fallen angels were imprisoned in the abyss. Yet the damage they had inflicted on earth could not be erased so easily. The land, scarred and broken, lay in quiet desolation, a reflection of the chaos that had swept across it. The very foundations of creation seemed to tremble, as though they were holding their breath, awaiting the next phase of divine judgment. The faithful, the few who had remained steadfast amidst the storm, knew that the judgment was only the beginning. The earth had been cleansed, but the sins of humanity were not easily forgotten. The Watchers had taught forbidden knowledge, and with it, they had unleashed the darkness that had taken root in human hearts. The earth was stained with their corruption, and though the giants were gone, the seeds they had planted remained. And now, the true test began. The remnants of humanity were left to rebuild, to restore what had been shattered. But they were not alone in this endeavor. The celestial beings, led by Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, watched over them, ensuring that the survivors would not fall back into the trap of the Watchers' teachings. They knew that the next generation would be the key. Would they remember the lessons of the past, or would they be seduced once again by the forbidden knowledge that had once cursed their world? The battle for the soul of humanity was not yet won. The temptation to rise again, to claim power and glory, still lingered in the hearts of the weak. The knowledge of the Watchers was a dangerous tool, capable of either restoring order or plunging the world back into chaos. Only those who were truly faithful, Those who had seen the truth could prevent the cycle from repeating. With the fate of the world still hanging in the balance, the next steps in this divine drama were yet to unfold. Would humanity heed the warning, or would they succumb to the same destructive path? The final reckoning was coming, and the world awaited its fate with bated breath. The celestial court gathered. The time of reckoning had arrived. The stars themselves seemed to dim as the angels, having watched over humanity for centuries, now faced the most crucial moment in history. The evil that had been sowed by the Watchers, their offspring, and the twisted knowledge they had spread had set in motion an irreversible chain of events. In the heavens, a profound stillness gripped the hosts of angels. There was no more time for waiting. The cries of the righteous who had suffered under the giant's insatiable hunger had reached their apex. The Creator's judgment would now be delivered in full force. The fallen angels, once lords of earth, stood before the throne, shackled and awaiting their fate. Each one of them would answer for the transgressions they had inflicted upon the planet. Each judgment would be as unique as the sin it sought to rectify. The ground beneath them trembled as the judgment began. The voices of the faithful echoed through the heavens, adding weight to the Creator's decisions. Those who had been victims of the Watchers' twisted teachings, those whose lives had been marred by the atrocities committed, now stood at the precipice of a new beginning. But what would it look like? Could the earth, stained by so much darkness, ever be restored? A sudden flash of light pierced the silence, marking the start of the purification process. The angels knew that this was not just the end of the Watcher's reign, it was the beginning of a new era for mankind, one where the truth would be restored, and the creation would be healed. The battle was far from over, but this was the moment of divine intervention. The fate of the earth and of humanity now rested on the decisions made in the heavenly court. As the purification began, the earth braced itself, for the Creator's wrath was not done yet. The storm of judgment would be fierce, and its echoes would resound throughout history. What would become of the earth? Would it find redemption, or would it be lost to eternal darkness? The answer was unfolding in this very moment. As the judgment continued, the forces of darkness trembled in the face of the Creator's might. The Watchers, bound in chains of light, stood silent before the throne, their once formidable power reduced to nothing. They who had corrupted the earth with their forbidden knowledge, their monstrous progeny, and their rebellious acts, now faced the consequences of their transgressions. The Creator's judgment was final, and there was no escape. The angels, led by Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, watched as the wickedness of the Watchers and their offspring was weighed in the balance. The world that had once been full of life and promise now lay in ruins, ravaged by the horrors unleashed by the fallen angels. The giants had consumed everything in their path: human lives, natural resources, and even the very soul of creation itself. The earth had cried out in the blood of the innocent, but now the cries of justice would be heard. A great wind stirred the heavens, a storm of divine retribution gathering strength. The angels called upon the Creator to purge the earth of the corruption brought forth by the Watchers. The time had come for the earth to be restored, to return to its original state of purity. But this restoration would not come without cost. The fate of the Watchers was sealed. They would be cast into the deepest abyss, their power forever extinguished. The giants, their cursed offspring, would meet their own destruction, wiped from the face of the earth as the earth itself trembled beneath the weight of their sins. Yet even as the judgment was pronounced, the question lingered. What would become of the human race? The righteous who had suffered for so long under the Watcher's reign were now given a chance for redemption. The divine light of justice shone through the darkness, but the question remained: could humanity truly heal from the wounds inflicted upon it? The earth would have to endure the storm, but it would not be the same afterward. The Creator's justice would reshape the world once more. The time of reckoning had come, but the future was uncertain. What would emerge from the ashes of this great trial? The fate of humanity hung in the balance. The heavens trembled as the Creator's decree echoed throughout the cosmos, signaling the dawn of a new era. The Watchers, their rebellious hearts now exposed to the light of divine judgment, could only watch in fear as their fate unfolded before them. Bound in chains of fire, they were dragged from the earth they had once corrupted. Their power, once feared by all, was now a distant memory, swallowed by the abyss that awaited them. The giants, the offspring of the fallen angels, who had ravaged the world and devoured the hearts of men, were also facing their final moments. The earth, long scarred by their insatiable hunger, now trembled in anticipation of their eradication. These monstrous beings had lived to destroy, but now the Creator's wrath was about to consume them completely. The final blow was about to fall, and the earth would be purged of their presence forever. Yet, as the Watchers and giants faced their inevitable end, there remained a flicker of hope. For in the ashes of the old world, a new future could be born. The righteous, who had suffered in silence, were now lifted by the Creator's hand. The cries of the faithful, those who had called out for justice, had not been in vain. The destruction of evil was the beginning of restoration, a return to the purity of the world before the fall of the Watchers. As the storm of judgment subsided, a new order began to take shape. The earth, though scarred, would be given a second chance. The Creator's wrath had cleansed the world, but the work of healing and rebuilding would take time. Humanity, once lost in the darkness of sin and corruption, now had the opportunity to rise again. The era of the Watchers was over, but the age of redemption had begun. The path ahead was uncertain, but it was a path paved with the possibility of restoration. The earth, though scarred, would heal, and humanity would be given a new beginning. The heavens, once silent, now respond to the cry of the earth. The throne of the Creator shines in all its majesty, and the divine voice commanding echoes through the universe. The decision has been made. The Watchers, the fallen angels who defied the heavenly orders, would now face divine judgment. The Creator, with righteous wrath, commands that these beings be imprisoned, bound by unbreakable chains, unable to cause further destruction to the world. The fate of the Watchers' children, the giants, is equally sealed. They will be destroyed, consumed by their own transgressions. The angelic forces, led by Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, are commissioned to fulfill this divine order. With the precision of celestial executioners, they prepare the earth for purification. The destruction of the giants will not only be an act of vengeance, but also restoration. The spilled blood and the chaos spread across the earth demand purification, a cleansing that will allow creation to find its way back to harmony. The chapter reaches its climax with the Creator's call for the final judgment. The actions of the Watchers and their repercussions on humanity are laid bare, and God's justice is proclaimed for all to see. The weight of the judgment is not only upon the fallen angels, but also upon the humans who, by accepting forbidden knowledge, strayed from their paths and betrayed the divine purpose. However, a promise of redemption arises amidst the shadows. A new order will be established, where justice will be restored, and the earth will finally be cleansed of the evil that corrupted it. This divine intervention marks a before and after in the history of the world, where celestial justice begins to take shape, and the divine light begins to purify the darkness that ravaged the earth. Get ready for the next chapter of one of the most gripping narratives from the Book of Enoch. If you thought the judgment of the Watchers was intense, just wait until you uncover what lies ahead in chapter 10. The Creator's direct intervention marks a turning point, sealing the fate of the Watchers and their offspring in a transformative act of divine justice. In the upcoming video, we'll dive into the execution of the divine plan to cleanse the earth. How will the fallen angels be captured? What will be the giants' ultimate fate? And most importantly, what does this mean for humanity? These mysteries are waiting to be unveiled in another deep exploration of celestial justice. Before you go, make sure to like this video so more people can discover these incredible revelations. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any part of this journey. Share this with someone who will be fascinated by these hidden truths, and let us know your theories and insights in the comments below. See you in the next chapter.